Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jeff Wilson. Super excited here on this episode of FCF to be with Jans Frankenstein. How are you, Jan Stein? Good to see you.
I'm good. Yeah, no, I'm good.
We are having some technical difficulties here early in the morning on a Wednesday morning, but we got through them, and we're here right now. Just let me give you guys a little bit of an understanding of who Jans is. Jans is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He is a model. There's been magazines, articles written about you in many different countries. There's a documentary about you that was at the Toronto Film Festival. You are a six-time six-time Olympic qualifier for Rio, for
Yeah,
Paralympics, and you're a three-time national champion in the long jump. And you just came back from a really good. The nationals were just recently, correct?
yeah. Nationals were just in Ottawa last week, and well, I guess yeah, four days ago. And before that, I was in Germany for the Berlin Grand Prix.
It's I love your story. It's an amazing story. I know you're super busy today. I want to get into it, but let's go back. Let's go back chronologically to Jan's growing up as a kid in Saskatchewan. Did you start out in Saskatchewan and your parents and how that all started?
Yeah, born and raised in Regina. Haven't left Regina. Travel a lot, so don't need to leave Regina. Yeah, no, I was a kid, just kid playing hockey until I was about 13, and then parents got divorced. Woke up one morning, dad was gone. Mom was going one way, dad was going the other way. It was kind of, I was I had foster brothers and foster sister. It was like, where do we go? What do we do? I was young, went with dad, and stuff just, father physically, mentally abusive. So just kind of fending for myself when I was a kid with my brothers, and I ended up going in a foster home when I was, I think I was 14. I went in a foster home, and that's when skateboarding was introduced to me. And kind of from there, I just kept building on sports: hockey, skateboarding, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and track and field now.
Yeah, it's an amazing story because you came from a place of quite a bit of struggle growing up like that. Talk to me a little bit about moving into skateboarding and how that sort of developed. And then you were also in the motocross as well, correct?
A little bit motocross, more for recreational. Like I didn't really compete. It was just kind of get out and rip around with some friends, have a good time. Nothing really serious.
Right. And what about skateboarding?
Skateboarding, I think I started skateboarding, like, now looking back at it, more of like rebelling, but then all of a sudden it kind of took off from there, and I got a lot better than I would have thought, kind of like a pro-am. At one time I had my own skateboarding deck, and a couple little sponsors and flows, and I still get on my skateboard today, and it's 25 years now. And then in high school I started wrestling, just little aggressive kid, some anger issues, frustration issues. So I'm like, hey, wrestling, that could be the sport for me. Smash some people around a little bit. Graduated high school, and I still wanted to do something in the grappling world. And this was way before jiu-jitsu was popular, and it was a tough sport to find at home. And I ended up finding it. It found me, and still today,
Yeah, it's amazing. And I've known you for about 10 years now, and known you from being at Complete MMA and commentated, I think, one of your fights for the UMC
yeah.
you had, and continued to see. And then there was an instance there where you got into an accident. Talk to me about that moment.
Yeah, no, it was on my dirt bike. My friend and I were just out cruising around, ripping around, and had this great idea that I was going to set up a super ghetto ramp, jump over a car, and was going too fast, overshot a landing, and destroyed my left leg, broke my fibula and tibia, and about 30 places, dislocated my ankle, broke my heel, ankle, whatever you can imagine down there, I think I broke.
Yeah. And I remember coming back to do Saturday Night Fights, and I saw you, and you're walking and you're limping around on a cane. And for about, how long was that for when you had the cane?
Oh shit! I think I was on a cane for. I think I was on a cane for a couple of months. I had a cast, a no weight bearing cast, crutches, and then I had 18 screws and 3 plates. Had a lot of complications, so went to the doctor, got all the hardware taken out, and meanwhile I was still competing, training. I got second at World Championships actually when I could barely walk for jiu-jitsu, for submission wrestling.
In Brazil?
No, that was in Long Beach. Yeah, and then just complication after complication, and it was just a nightmare. I was booking my life around my ankle. If I wanted to work one day, I couldn't. If I wanted to work one day, I couldn't. I couldn't train the next, or if I wanted to train one day, I couldn't work the next. So I was basically booking my life around my leg and my ankle, and I was just fed up with it, and so started going to doctors. And
Jan, was that because of the pain, or what do you mean by that?
It was the pain. Like the way I was walking, I couldn't weight bearing my full weight. I had all the hardware taken out so I can get an MRI, and I just couldn't weight bear anything. I started developing osteoarthritis really bad, swelling, couldn't feel the arch of my foot. I started losing sensation to my foot, my toes. It started getting worse and worse and worse over, I would say over the course of a year and a half.
And then you sort of come to the craziest decision, or I mean, to you, it probably made logical sense. But when I heard it, I was like, what? Right? And I suppose everybody has that same reaction. But so you're working a day, and then either if you work the day you can't train, or you train and then you can't work, and you're consistently having more and more trouble with your leg. Most people, I think, would go, this is just my life. I take a bunch of painkillers, try to get through it. But you did something different.
Yeah, no, I didn't like doing that stuff. I don't. And so the doctors wanted to fuse my ankle. So when I heard that word fusion, I started doing a lot of research, probably about, I'd say 4 to 5 months of research to decide really what I wanted to do. If I wanted to have an ankle fusion, and then possibly in a year and a half after that, have another one, have another surgery, spend years and years and years recovering, like a lot of people out there do that, I've talked to and I've mentored, where, they go through 8-9 years of surgeries before the doctors are like, well, there's nothing more we can do about it, and I was the type of person that, I did all my own research, and I didn't want to sit on the sidelines anymore. I was done with it. I wanted to continue, training jiu-jitsu, healthy lifestyle. And I started doing a lot of research. It just wasn't an overnight decision. And I found a good doctor in Saskatoon. And I remember him saying, I do not envy your decision. And I chose the below the knee amputation because I didn't want to deal with the pain anymore. And I actually remember sitting down with AJ at the gym one day, and I'm like, man, I can't handle this pain anymore. It was, no one understands what kind of pain I was in. No one ever will. And that was my biggest goal. And I remember talking to him about it. That was my biggest goal in life, was to not have pain anymore. And I succeeded.
Well, to not have pain anymore, and then your desire to compete. I remember watching episodes on YouTube of you wrestling and trying to get fitted for the appropriate, I don't know what you call it, like graphite, in order for you to compete. But what was that? Now you've made this crazy decision. Talk to me about, first of all, waking up in the morning after you've gotten rid of your leg because of the pain. Is there more pain? Is there less pain? How are you psychologically?
At first there was a lot of yeah, I mean, a lot of weirdness. I think I woke up and I kind of smiled, and after surgery, and I think it was the light at the end of the tunnel, right? Where it's like, okay, you know, I got to deal with, it's got to get worse before it gets better. And I dealt with a lot of, you know, it was a lot of mental and psychological shit that, you know, you got your leg cut off, you know, but man, I just mentally fought through it and kept going every day, one day at a time, until I got my prosthetics, started walking. You know, you got to learn how to walk again, run again, everything. You got to learn how to do everything again. And it was a challenge, but it was a fun challenge for me.
Amazing. Talk to me about the mental challenge. Like, what's happening in your head, and how are you confronting it and defeating it? And are some days just days you just got to get through, or like, talk to me about that mental conflict? I mean, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I'm so mentally strong. I kind of ignored it, actually. It's like, hey, you know what? It's not growing back. This is part of my lifestyle now. This is my body. I got to deal with it, and that's that. I didn't have a choice, so I learned to deal with it myself immediately, instead of sitting there and pouting and complaining about it. Like, you know, honestly, like a lot of people do. You know, years and years later, lots of people are still, you know, posting and complaining and about their you know, their accident or their surgeries. You know, sometimes I forget my dates, you know, like I just don't care. It's part of my lifestyle. I was meant to be like this.
Interesting. And so you sort of get through it all, but your journey into finding the place where you can compete again. Talk about finding the right replacements and some of the struggles that you had to go through to get to where you are right now, because it's a real amazing story, but there's some stuff in the middle there that must have been fascinating.
Yeah, it was frustrating. Like, it was extremely frustrating. I have a lot of patience, so it's you know, I didn't know that I could even train jiu-jitsu again, you know, and that's my passion, my life, you know. I mean, even though right now I'm in track and field, and, you know, I'm a cardio athlete for Canada, you know, but my passion in my life is always fighting. You know, I'm pretty sure I talk about it. I'm talking about it right now every day. You know, and I was worried that I wouldn't be able to do that anymore. So that was a struggle. Skateboarding also, I'll never be the same skateboarding again. But there's other things in life that I can do now a lot better than I could in the past. You know, for an example, running, you know, being the fastest 100-meter sprinter in Canada for para, you know, being the #1 long jumper for para in Canada, you know, the stuff like that, I had no idea I could even do, you know, and it found me and I found it.
Do you have any of those legs or those graphite shafts around?
I do, just not up here.
Oh, okay, no problem. Take a look at that. So you get through that, and how does the process of long jump and that track athlete, it's secondary. I mean, you're a black belt with No Vignale from AJ. I remember seeing the video and you walking sort of on one leg or getting your black belt. And it's probably the first time, well, second time I've seen AJ so emotional. The first time was, you know, when we were teenagers, and it was a girl. But this time, I mean, he's a grown man, and he's probably one of the most stoic people we know. And he sits there, and as he's handing his black belt, there's this an emotional respect and love, and he kind of starts to break down because he sees the struggle that you're going through and how you continue to move through, and it's amazing. But then you go, let's see how awesome I can be at track and field and long jump, and you start achieving. Like, how did that process start happening?
Man, good question. I've known a track coach from the U of R for a long time, and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna do something different, something out of the ordinary. And I always kind of, I just, for some reason in my head, I'm just like, I couldn't quit thinking about lining up at a starting line and racing the 100-meter. I don't know why. I don't know why that that crossed my mind at all. But I'm like, well, I'm gonna try it, And so I got a hold of her. We met. We sat down for a coffee, and I was just like, let's give it a shot and see what happens. I'm gonna get a leg, play around with it a little bit. And I remember when I sat down with my track coach, I said, I'm not gonna disappoint you. And that was over 4 years now, and I don't think I've disappointed her.
No, that's amazing. I want to go back a little bit because I've always been so impressed with the fact you also created your own company, younger to finance yourself and do a bunch of things when you were younger. And it's kind of like sometimes you'll find these kids or young adults that have everything in their life to look forward to, and their parents are doing for it. They get all the sponsorship, and you, ever since that divorce, had to struggle and fight and anger. How did you turn that? Because a lot of kids don't make it out of that situation.
Yeah.
In jail. Yeah. Like how did you end up converting your anger into sport? Like, what's that is there a process to it?
I don't know. Hard work, drive. I was one of those kids too. Like, I didn't think I was going to live past 16 years old. And, every year I'm like, holy shit, I've graduated high school. And then it's just like one thing after another. And, I didn't realize when I was 15 and 16 that I was so dedicated and such a hard worker, and then I started training jiu-jitsu. And I remember the first day, it was just like, wow, this is it. This is my outcome. This is my lifestyle. This is it. Like, I fell in love with fighting and jiu-jitsu the first day I tried. I remember the first day, like it happened yesterday, and that was, I don't know if it's 16, 15, I don't even know how many years ago now. I can't remember. 16 years ago now. It was just one day at a time, really. And that's still how I am today. Tomorrow's going to be different than today. It's one day at a time.
Yeah. And so I always wonder this nurture nature debate, because a guy like Jens seems to always have a struggle in front of him, and he seems to get through it. And then you see kids that are kind of in a good situation, but they struggle and they kind of fail a lot more. And sometimes they don't get back on that horse. And then they do jiu-jitsu, and it starts to develop the skills and the mentality to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations and move from there. From where you are, just from what you are, and as a coach to kids, I guess my question is, some of this stuff's learned and some of this stuff you're probably born with. Do you feel like you can actually learn to get through struggle through life through jiu-jitsu? Or do you feel like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Not only is jiu-jitsu, like jiu-jitsu is everything for a human, like it's discipline, it's friendship, it's family, it's staying in shape. It's if you want to get into the competition world, it's mental, it's physical. Jiu-jitsu is good for your whole body, mentally and physically. Like, you got your family. You talk to any jiu-jitsu practitioner, any fighter, and we're all a family. And that's just how jiu-jitsu is. I could walk down the street and see a fighter from 2 blocks away, and I would go out of my way and be like, hey, what's up? How are you? And that's just the fighting world, and it's family, really. And a lot of the people that maybe don't have families or coming up, not a lot of friends. Jiu-jitsu, it's a huge outcome. It's a lifestyle.
Interesting. I love that, and I hear that from a lot of people about that lifestyle and understanding how they understand that it does make you a better human being. Now, talk to me a little bit about, like, to go from amateur fighting to professional fighting in MMA today in Canada is basically signing a contract and getting some approvals.
Yeah.
You're a carded athlete, Olympian. What's the difference between going from professional athleticism as in the jiu-jitsu side versus now you're a funded athlete and there are rules? And for someone who's kind of a rebel, but what's the difference in mentality about being that level of professionalism versus where you were before?
Yeah. Politics. paperwork, you know, drug testing. You know, I am representing a country, not just my team now, you know, like I'm representing a country at an international level. So, you know, there's rules and regulations, you know, like code of conduct, you know, stuff like that. I try and, you know, I might look like a badass. I might look like somebody that's, you know, just got out of prison, but, you know, like I'm not, you know, I'm a professional athlete. I'm a professional human when it comes to even 2D dump hauling, my business, to jiu-jitsu, to track and field. I always try and represent myself and represent the sport to the best.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it seems to me like the struggles don't seem to continue to stop for Jans in your personal life. And what I mean by that is you're dating Carly now, right? And
Yeah.
she was in a tough situation and you had to help support her through that as well. Are you able to talk about that?
Yeah, for sure. My girlfriend, Carly, she's a bilateral amputee, which she has no legs below the knee. And we started dating basically through social media. I think she started following me on Instagram. There she is right there in the back.
Really?
And then she
I told the vet we're gonna be half an hour late.
Okay. We started talking and I was kind of mentoring her, and she was going through some struggles and some hard times, and she lost her right leg below the knee, full hip replacement. And then she was struggling with her left leg because of an accident, and it was just destroyed, and she ended up losing her left leg actually just this past December. So we've been through some struggles, but you know, every day again, it's you know, we love each other and we're here for each other, and there's something like we were meant to be.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, and I love it. Again, and I'm thinking about how. Okay, this is what I'm thinking about. You know, sometimes there's great athletes that can't seem to transition into a good coach because they're naturally gifted athletes. Like Wayne Gretzky, for example, wasn't a great coach. When your situation, you're a great athlete. And I think that from what I hear and what I see, you're a great coach. How is that transition? Is it through the process of struggle, or how do you become a better coach? As we get older, we all have to become coaches, right? And that with the Carly situation, it seems to be like, hey, she's going through this again. Jans is going to be a professional. He's got a ton of stuff to do, but he's got to be there for her. Is he saying you just got to get through it, or is it deeper than that?
I'd say a little bit deeper. Yeah, like thanks for giving me props about the coach. I think a lot of it has to do with my coaching experience also. You know, maybe not so much my relationship experience, but the coaching experience for sure. And that's through years and years and years of being a coach. You know, I was a head coach for a high school wrestling program for 12 years, and I've been coaching kids jiu-jitsu for AJ, his first coach at Complete MMA, his first kids coach and adult coach, actually, I think, you know. So it's years of experience, and you know, almost like I'm almost kind of a mental coach to her. I push her through things. There's some things that maybe I shouldn't push her as hard, but yeah, I mean, it's just you know, working with each other really also, you know.
So boil it down, and this is terrible because I always want to fast food everything, but boil down 12 to 20 years of coaching experience into like 3 points where, hey, you got to do this, this, and this in order to be not just a great athlete, but a great coach.
Yeah.
Could you?
I don't know.
Like you're dealing with a situation. So I'm an athlete.
Yeah.
It's just either I'm too scared to go train, or or I can't deal with something. How do you approach a situation with an athlete or a loved one?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's natural for me, so I don't really think about it. You know, like I don't know, but I make them feel, almost make them feel like I want them to be confident in themselves, right? I want them to maybe push themselves and show themselves that they can do something that they might not even know how to do, you know? And I kind of approach every situation is different though, and see it, like, it's hard for me to answer this question because it comes so natural. I can go up to somebody and I'm a good people reader, a people person, and I can kind of get them motivated into doing anything, you know? So it's to me, it's just normal. It's just natural. It just comes natural to me.
Yeah. And I'm going to boil it down because from what I heard there right now, you listen, immediately listen. So that's the thing. Okay. What's the real situation here? Second is you pick an activity that might be kind of easy, but they don't think they can do. And you push them towards that. And then they start getting the confidence. And third, you continue along nurturing that method, that nurturing.
Yeah.
You can do more and more of the things you don't believe you can until there will be nothing that you don't believe you cannot do.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how to ask this question given the situations that you've gone through in your life, and you can take it wherever you want to go, Jans, but talk to me maybe about one of the greatest lessons that either your parents taught you or that your coaches taught you or someone growing up as you grew up, one of the biggest lessons that you learned and what you have to take from that.
Well, I mean, you know, I'll start with AJ right away because AJ's been a huge part of my life, you know, my jiu-jitsu coach. And, you know, it's just keep going, you know, just keep going, keep doing it, keep working hard. You know, I watch it, you know, I might not have been around the gym for the last little while now. That's because I'm doing another sport right now, but I'm always going to come back to jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is going to be there for the rest of my life. And, you know, AJ's always teaching and coaching, not only me, but all his students to be, you know, better athletes, better people, you know, and you know, that question, that's one of the guys that sticks out of my head right away. You know, another is, you know, I don't get along with my dad too well. We don't really have a relationship anymore, but, you know, don't take shit from people, you know, stick up for yourself. And that was one of my biggest things, you know. And my mom my mom's battling, she's been doing chemo since the beginning of December, so she's really sick, but my mom's a fighter and she never gives up. And that's where I get that mentality and that drive and that work ethic is from my mom, because man, she's the toughest human being I know.
Yeah, it's amazing, and my thoughts are with you guys and your family going through that. Hey, Jens, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me about this. I know you got to get those dogs to get the shots or to the vet today. You do have an event coming up in August. Talk to me a little bit about if people want to train with you or get a hold of you. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, for sure. I got Master Championships August 3rd to 5th, I think, in Surrey, BC. So it's my age category, not against these 22-year-olds. So I get to go against some 37-year-olds now. Yeah, no, if anyone wants to get a hold of me for you know, jiu-jitsu private lessons or come out on the track and learn some technique with me and maybe race me, you know, you can email me, janstein@hotmail.com, or now janstein9@gmail.com. So there you go.
That's perfect, Jens. Thanks so much for taking the time, and we'll see you in Surrey in August for your competition. Patra and I will be there.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. We'll see you later.
Take care.